Good morning and welcome to Astronomy 281, Introduction to Astrobiology. My name is Dr. Stephen Freeland and I'm the instructor for this course. As you probably figured out by now, I'm not actually with you in Hawaii for this first week. Instead, I am attending something called the Gordon Research Conference on the Origin of Life, where I've been invited to present a talk on some of the research taking place here in Hawaii over the past year. You'll be hearing more about the Gordon Research Conference and some of the most cutting-edge ideas regarding the origin of life later in the course. In fact, the host of the conference, Dr. Jim Cleaves, is coming to visit Hawaii in a couple of months' time to start a new research project with us, and I'll be bringing him to this class to talk to you directly. I'll be bringing several guests in, representing the best of the researchers here at Hawaii, and as the course proceeds, I'll be encouraging you to think of the questions that you want to ask of them. But more of that later. For this week, I'm asking my colleague and co-teacher, Heather Kaluna, to work with the class teaching assistant, Danny Atkinson, to cover for my absence by guiding you through a series of video clips, activities and questionnaires that introduce the course properly. I would like to ask you to make a clear decision about whether you're ready to commit to working through a semester of astrobiology with me. And for that reason, the aim of this week's introduction is twofold. Firstly, I want to be confident that if you are still attending the class next week when I return, then you have a good idea of what astrobiology and this course are all about. Put simply, astrobiology is the scientific study of life's place within this universe. According to our current scientific understanding, under the right conditions, it is entirely natural for chemistry to become biology. The big question is what it means to say, under the right conditions. Life could be very common in the universe. It could be intelligent and willing to communicate with us. Or it could be unimaginably different. We could even be alone. Since biology is chemistry, and chemistry is physics, there must be some fundamental scientific connections between the physics of our universe and the presence of life on our planet. As we learn more about those connections, we should be able to say more and more about the likelihood of life arising in other parts of the universe, and more about what we might expect that life to look like. One of the less obvious challenges here is that astrobiology is highly interdisciplinary, and scientists who specialize in different disciplines tend to think differently. They tend to use different language and to search for truth in different ways. Even when they do attempt to read or talk to colleagues from another area, they often struggle to understand one another. Now we have the rest of this semester to explore all of those statements in more detail. But before we get to that, there is a second, equally important aspect to this week of introduction, and that is for me to get to know something about you, the people I'll be teaching. Normally, I'd use the first week of classes to interact with you personally. I believe that by taking the time to understand who I'm teaching in any given semester, I can make the course better. I can pitch it to the right level, I can spend more or less time where you need it, and I can make the whole experience more rewarding for you and for me. This semester, I am, for the first time in my life, attempting to do that with a written questionnaire. It is up to you how carefully and thoughtfully you answer me, but I'll make you a simple promise. The main reason that you're not receiving a detailed class plan in today's handouts is that I've deliberately left us with enough flexibility that I can move things around once I learn your backgrounds and your motivations for taking the class. On the other hand, I do need to say once clearly up front that this is not a good class for slackers or for easy credit. I'm afraid I've got absolutely no problem failing any student who can't produce work that averages a college level of scholarship. I'll expect you to read something and write something for homework every single week. Over the past decade, I've taught several thousand undergraduates at all levels of ability and from all different backgrounds. I'm confident that I have fair and reasonable expectations for you all. I will work with you on any areas you find difficult, but I'll also notice laziness, and I have no patience for cheating in any form. At the other end of the spectrum, you might well reach parts of the course where your knowledge and interest go beyond the introductory level we can offer in class time. If that happens, I'll be happy to connect you with the resources that'll help you go further. Since I'm asking you to tell me about yourselves, it's only polite that I finish by taking a moment or two to tell you who I am and why you should think that I'll be a good person to teach this course. I came to Hawaii 3 years ago to manage a team of professors, graduate students, and postdoctoral research scientists in a 5-year, $7 million effort to understand the origin of Earth's oceans. This work is funded by NASA. More specifically, it is funded by the NASA Astrobiology Institute, or the NAI. We're one of 14 teams, spread around America, who each study different questions related to astrobiology. Put together, we represent something like a virtual university. And once again, you'll be learning more about that in the next few weeks. But before I came here, I worked as a straightforward professor of biology in the University of Maryland system. There I ran a research group and taught courses in evolutionary biology. Before that, I was a postdoctoral researcher at Princeton University Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology. Before that, I studied for a PhD in genetics at Cambridge in the UK. And before that, I was an undergrad, just like you, studying zoology at Oxford University. Throughout my career, I've been dedicated to studying the evolution of genetic coding. And you've guessed it, we'll be talking more about that later on. But it might interest you to notice that although I've always studied the same thing, I have at various times been defined by other people as a geneticist, a biochemist, a bioinformatician, and most recently an astrobiologist. What I choose to take away from that is a simple lesson. Interesting research questions take you to interesting places. From the outside, it might seem to someone as if you were roaming through the departments of a university at random, when in truth you're taking time to learn all the different things you need to answer the one question that is burning inside you. I'm a big believer in interdisciplinary research. I'm fascinated by the science that I do, and I love teaching. So with that, let me hand you over to Danny and Heather and bid you farewell for now. I look forward to meeting you all in person on Tuesday.